if you tell yourself that open houses don't work, they're a waste of time.
Yeah.
And listen, I've felt that before, but if you tell yourself that, and then you're like going to start the day without doing the right things, you're not going to execute it properly. And guess what will happen? It won't work.
Yeah.
It won't work. So we're going to talk about all the things. We're diving deep into these, starting with like, why do people avoid things? What is the emotional thing that holds us back? It's the blocker that holds us back from achieving the success that other people have with whatever lead source we're talking about, which today is open houses.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Seeking the best, being my best. Do do da 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 da. Seeking the best, seeking the best, seeking the best, 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 best,
Welcome to Seeking the Best, the podcast for growth-minded real estate agents seeking clarity, focus, and a better way forward. I'm your host, Kathryn Stelljes, and sitting across from me is my co-host, sound engineer, producer extraordinaire, Patrick Fatica.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. It is bright and early.
Yep.
We're ready to go.
Yep.
Did you know that most people actually are most productive in the morning?
That makes sense. It's before anything bad's happened.
People tell themselves they're not, but the reality is that you are. Like, even if they think that like, oh no, I get so much more done in the evenings, that's just because of like a life routine, or maybe like you get more done because the kids go to sleep and you have like focus time.
Sure.
But your natural body probably is most productive.
Yeah, that's
in the morning.
That's that lizard brain.
It's true though.
Yeah.
Well, and I've just tracked my own to know that like the 9:30 to 10:30 zone is like my sweet spot.
I think as you get older, that time starts to get earlier.
Right.
I know that when
true.
you're in your 20s, you think that's never going to be you. It's going to be you.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those things, you know.
No, I'm a night owl.
Yeah, I know. It's like I get more done at night and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but I mean, you know, I don't know if that's true. I don't think it is. I think if you use any kind of sleep tracker, they usually will give you like what's going to be your most productive time, and it's going to be in the morning. So we do this bright and early, and I think it's appropriate to be talking about this season. We're talking about lead generation, and what's the best time to do lead generation? In the morning,
first thing in the morning. Now, for a different reason.
Well, for more than one reason. How about that?
Well, true. You got me there. But one of the main reasons you do lead gen first thing in the morning is because stuff starts to show up by the midday. So if you can just be disciplined in the first few hours of the morning and do that lead generation, the thing that drives your business forward in those first few hours, you'll be better for it. Your business will be better for it. Because stuff starts to show up, like you have appointments, you have showings, you have like contract issues. People start to respond to their emails and voice messages from the day before, like title companies, lenders, other agents. And so by midday, you start to get bogged down in all that other stuff.
Right.
That other stuff that has to happen. But at the same time, it's not the most important work.
Right.
It's the lead generation.
Always.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Well, yeah.
We don't want to believe that we have to lead generate because we all got into this business thinking it was going to be for freedom and flexibility and found out, oh, I have to actually
do the same thing at the same time every single day. That doesn't sound like freedom. That doesn't sound like flexibility. That sounds like a schedule, which is not why I got into this business to begin with. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a disappointing reality of the real estate industry.
Yeah.
But like I think we get into real estate and not realizing that we have to have a sales team, just like any other business has to sell their product or service, and somebody's responsible for that.
It's you.
But in this case, it's you.
Yeah. I wonder if, it's like everyone, I mean, unless you come from a family of real estate agents, really, your whole idea of what a real estate agent is and does is kind of all based around movies and TV.
Right.
And they never show real estate agents on movies and TV lead generating in the office. They just show them like walking around houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Driving to and showing houses. So people's preconceived idea, but before they get into the business, they kind of everything gets really enveloped in that. There's other things. They know there are other things, but you don't realize that what they show on movies and TV is like 10% of the job.
Can I tell you what's the most realistic real estate scene in all movies and television?
Yeah, sure.
Well, now the movie just slipped my brain. Annette Bening slapping
American Beauty.
American Beauty, where
sure.
she's like fixing up the house, like cleaning it up for the open house.
Right. And what's the and she's like, I will sell this house today.
Yeah. She keeps telling herself, she's giving herself affirmations about selling it. And then she slaps herself a whole bunch across the face. And
then I would say, Phil Dunphy in Modern Family is the furthest away from realistic.
Right. He does a seminar and there's like 30 people in the room.
Right. If anyone's ever tried to do a seminar before, I think there was more than 30. It was packed, but his everything he's doing are open houses and showing properties.
Yeah. He does go on one listing appointment.
Right. So,
but
speaking of open houses,
because we've started this new season to dive into lead generation sources, specifically because it is the thing that moves your business forward. And we're we're a little past the halfway point now in this year. And so it only makes sense that you think about like, how do I ramp up my sales business? But these are foundational things, no matter what time of year you're listening to this episode, because this is the engine of your business. And one of the key things to have a successful real estate career is to figure out which ones are going to work for you. And you can only do that if you try them and try them consistently enough to see what works and what doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Because most of the time what happens is people do it like once or twice and then say, oh, that doesn't work.
Well, that's a good point. You said consistent enough. Mm-hmm. And I know that all of these are different, right? Whether we're sending postcards or letters to people we know or calling our sphere or whatever we decide, they're all different. But when the minimum, like when we say consistent, like what does that mean in the grand scheme? Like what you said, oh, they do it 2 or 3 times and it doesn't work. What do you mean when you say we have to do it consistent when it comes to something like open houses?
Well,
or when it comes to something like calling your sphere or whatever else, like
it is all different, right? Like your sphere takes time. It's the most important. That's the one we talked about last week. And people say it doesn't work because they have so much avoidance around it because they don't want to bother people. They don't know anybody. All the excuses that I've heard and felt in my previous first half of my career, all those excuses that we give ourselves, but it takes time. And so you can't say like a normal marketing campaign or something new you're starting, you would at least give it 6 months. With your sphere, that's a lifelong game. Mm-hmm. You never stop. It will work. That one's not a will it work, won't it work? Should I do it? Should I not do it? It is an absolute, you should do it. Every real estate agent, that's their number one source is sphere and past client repeating business, because when they sell with you, they become part of your sphere. It's the number one source for almost every agent I've ever talked to.
When you say referral and repeat business, when I hear that, it's like, it makes perfect sense, obviously. I think it might be hard for people if you're newer and you're just starting off and you hear someone like Kathryn say repeat business. What you're hearing is, so 10 years from now when they decide to sell. And what I would say to that is, yes, it's a career, right? Well, it's seeing the forest for the trees. It's knowing that if you do the work today, it's going to pay off later, rather than what can I do today to pay off today? You have to start thinking bigger and further out and preparing yourself for a career and not a job.
I agree with all of that, but it can be faster than 10 years.
Of course it can.
The average lifespan in a house is 7 to 10 years, but like that depends on who the people are. And like younger families move faster. They move 3 to 5 years.
All of that is fine. I'm just saying like,
I get it. I'm just giving some perspective that you can have repeat business after a couple years.
Yeah. But even that, when you're just starting out, you have no money in your bank account and you're like, what do I do? How do I do this? And Kathryn's talking about repeat business. What it could be, look, 10 years, 2 years, it's all a lifetime away when you're sitting on a Monday and have no one to call.
I get it. That's why we're going to talk about more than just that.
I know.
But my point in that conversation was that one is that you don't get to decide not to do it. If you don't do it, you are leaving so much income and revenue. Well, I should say revenue and income on the table if you don't do that one thing.
Right.
It has to be the biggest part of your day for the rest of your career, whether you like it or not. Next parts you get to decide.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you don't like calling expireds, then you don't have to.
So your one pillar is going to always be, doesn't matter who you are as a real estate agent, is going to be past client,
build a sphere and then continue to work that group of people and add to it with your clients.
And we always say like you should have like 3 main sources.
Yeah,
this is always number one. And then the other 2, you get to pick. That's the freedom. That's your whole like of building your own business and getting to do what you want to do and how you want to do it. Those are that's where you get to do it, isn't on these other 2.
Well, right? So I happened to restart the book, The 12-Week Year today, this morning.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I restarted it because I finished the last book I was reading and I was like, no, I'm going to read The 12-Week Year because it's like...
It's a lot of highlighted pages I'm already seeing.
You know,
so it looks like you've read that one
I've
quite
read
a few
it
times.
At least twice because there's 2 different colors. Now I got a 3rd color.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, hold that up to the camera so they can see.
I forgot we were recording this.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're not watching it, you can go find us on YouTube or Spotify and watch us.
If you want to see us live.
Look at each other. Look at each other and talk, I guess. This is what people are doing, though.
I have to get dressed for this.
I know.
I can't do this in my pajamas anymore.
Nope.
I have to put makeup on. No, but it's actually a good thing, right? To get prepared for the day. But I started rereading this book so I'm only a couple pages in and I already have a little quote for you.
Okay.
But I was reading it and it says, execution is the single greatest market differentiator. Executing a plan is the single greatest market differentiator. And then a little bit down the path, it's like explaining how you can go and like, you can listen to all of our podcasts. You can go to classes, you can do all the things, but if you don't execute the plans, it won't matter.
Yeah. And that's how people get tripped up, isn't it?
And well, what happens is like, think about how often does an idea fail when someone else does it? So you may not see the same results doing open houses as we're going to get into open houses, but it's always going to come down to execution of it. Mm-hmm. You may not see the same results that the MREA book talks about with Sphere and database, like past client repeat referral business over your career. But you have to ask yourself, did I follow all of the steps to execute it? Right? We talk about like the recipe. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about open houses, I just want to like start with that in mind. If you tell yourself that open houses don't work, they're a waste of time.
Yeah.
And listen, I've felt that before, but if you tell yourself that, and then you're like going to start the day without doing the right things, you're not going to execute it properly. And guess what will happen? It won't work. Yeah. It won't work. So we're going to talk about all the things. We're diving deep into these, starting with like, why do people avoid things? What is the emotional thing that holds us back? It's the blocker that holds us back from achieving the success that other people have with whatever lead source we're talking about, which today is open houses.
Yeah.
So when it comes to open houses, like I think the biggest issue for people is, well, 2 things. There's an awkwardness about it. when you host your first open house, you're not sure what you're supposed to do. It's all of a sudden there's strangers coming into the house and you think you're supposed to like show them the house and like walk them around and stuff. So there's like an awkwardness around it that I think turns some people off right from the get-go.
Right. Because the other awkwardness of the other things, you get to hide in the office and no one sees you.
Right.
Right. This is in front of people and stuff. But look, any new thing that you decide you're going to do, whether it's a career in real estate, an open house, or to get on the dance floor, it's going to be awkward the first time you do it. That's just the way it works. The more you do it, the easier it gets, the better at it you get, the more you get to improv.
That
right?
might not be true with dancing.
Two left feet. But you know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, like you can't say something doesn't work after doing it a couple times.
No, I mean, I know why people do it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't like the way it makes me feel. It makes me feel weird. It makes me feel, I get nervous. I don't see the results right away.
So that's the second part is it feels uncomfortable. Then you go do it and no one shows up.
Right.
And you're like, well, that was a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
I did all of this stuff. And like, let's say you did everything right. I door knocked the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. It was hot and sweaty.
Advertised for it, posted it on my Facebook page, right?
Did all the things and no one showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing out of your mouth is, well, that was a waste of time.
Yeah.
And it certainly feels that way in the moment. I know I've been there. But you have to remember that this is a numbers game.
Yeah.
And it's not about today's open house. And which, by the way, if you did all of the things, you still might have something to follow up on from the door knocking or from the other activities that you did. Because it's not all about the house either. It's not all about the people that walk in the house. It's all of the things you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But if no one walks in the house, it has that immediate impact of like, wow, what a waste of a day.
Yeah.
And it's a Saturday or Sunday on top of it.
Right. So you feel like the one day that you could have done something and you went and did that.
Yeah.
And now you're tired, right? You got to put all the signs, go pick up all the signs. It's hot outside.
It's hot. And now it's raining.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Does this sound like I've experienced this before?
Mm-hmm.
Many times. And
well, explain to me what for those who don't know, I'm not a real estate agent. So I've learned through osmosis and over 20 years of Kathryn and I doing basically this podcast all day long, 7 days a week. So we're always talking about this stuff. But I'm not in the room with other agents. So you're coaching other agents and helping them with productivity and all of those things. I don't understand, I guess, if there's anything past the idea of open house, like where does I don't want to do open houses, they don't work come from? We're like, well, what's the explanation of that? Because if open houses didn't work, nobody would be doing open houses, but people are doing open houses. So open houses do work. It's just, they don't work for you. And then do they ever think any further of like, well, why and what should I change? Or is it just like, well, they don't work for me?
I don't think people put enough time and thought into it, really. Like I remember this was before I was productivity coach in our office. And so this was probably 8 to 10 years ago that I remember sitting on our back porch at our other house. And I was on what's called the Agent Leadership Council.
Okay.
And so my team leader, who manages the office, not my individual team, I own that, but the manager of our office asked me, hey, do you mind talking to this guy? He's a new agent and he just wants some help with open houses. And of course I said yes. And I got on the phone with the guy and I said, tell me what you've done so far. And he had done 2 open houses and didn't have a follow-up plan. So I said, okay, so how many people came through? And I don't remember the answer to that, but he had some people come through. And how many times did you follow up with them? And he's like, well, I called them, but they didn't answer.
Right.
And that was enough to make him go to the manager of our office and say, I need something else. This isn't working.
Right. Now, I guess that's kind of what I was getting at the beginning when I was talking about time frame, right? So if you're a newer agent and you're listening to this, when we're talking about time frame and we're talking about follow-up plan and all of this stuff, it's like we'll get into all of it, but we're talking about weeks and weeks and weeks of follow-up and then consistently doing open houses every single week. So there's more,
you're adding people
added and added and added. So 6 weeks from now, you're still calling the people from the first open house, but then there's been a bunch more people added because you've been doing them every week. And that you start at the beginning and you call all the way through and you do it again and you do it again and you keep adding and keep adding. And it takes weeks and weeks and weeks. And then you start to see success and you don't stop doing the open houses and you don't stop adding people to that list. And it just keeps building and building and building, right?
Yes. And let me tell you, so the longest running open house lead that I can remember
that you've got
that I've closed was 2 years.
Right.
So they walked into an open house. Now, here's the key part to understand. I did not meet them. Another team member of mine did. Mm-hmm. A team member of mine held an open house on one of my listings. They came in, they went into our database. That team member left. He did not succeed in real estate and left, moved out of the state. And of course, they're still in our database. And so I followed up. And honestly, I probably called them twice because when you start to get a lot of people in your database, you have to be pretty selective as to who gets called.
Right.
But they were on a consistent email plan. Mm-hmm. So they got the initial 8 touches from the open house from that team member. And then they continued to get the monthly email and probably I called them a couple times. Come the time for them to buy a house, what did they do? They responded and said, "Hey, thanks for keeping in touch. We're finally ready to make a move."
Took 2 years.
It took 2 years. Now that is the longest one.
Right.
Okay.
But it makes a point. And the point is that if you're looking for what can I do today to get a buyer, open houses are the way to go because they are people who are in need of a house walking into where you are. You really can't beat that for compared to door knocking or something.
Well, so what is it? It's literally a retail store.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is
for you to sell a product,
but it also can take a very long time. That's why when Kathryn was talking about that agent, well, what's your follow-up plan? That's where a lot of agents fail is they don't have one. They have their follow-up plan is, I guess I'll call these people on Monday. Oh, they didn't answer. Oh, well, I guess I'll do another open house this week.
And sometimes you'll follow up 1 or 2 more times, but then, so then this is what I hear from agents. And this is not unique to new,
I know.
You can be.
I keep saying new, but
this is what happens. We get sort of stuck in our ways of doing things, and then decide I want to try open houses again. I haven't done open houses in a long time. I want to add some new leads, and so I'm going to go do open houses. And even after 10, 15 years in the business, you go start this thing again, and you quickly forget that it takes a long time. Mm-hmm. And so that's just an example with the new guy. I can tell you plenty of others with experienced agents who say, "Well, should I change up my plan?" And I'm like, "Well, how long have you been doing it?" "Well, I started last month."
Yeah.
Okay, well, not long enough, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk real quick. I want to just go through all the various excuses that I've either felt myself or heard.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one is, I hear this one a lot. They all already have real estate agents. Mm-hmm. Well, that is just simply not true, right? I mean, we can all agree that there is no, we
can just keep spiraling off of this conversation. Now we're going to get into open-ended questions and I can see us just keeping spiraling, but I would assume that the people who say that don't really know, or they said, "Are you working with anybody? Are you working with an agent?" And what do people say when you give them a yes or no question? They don't want to really talk to you. So they go, "Yeah, we've got an agent."
This is the same. So I've said this before, many other people I've heard use this analogy, but when you refer to an open house as like a retail store, then you can take the analogy further. It's like you have this physical location that any other day of the week you don't have. So you have this physical location where you can actually like promote and sell a product. And so people are coming to look at it and decide if they want to buy it. That is a unique opportunity that everybody should be taking advantage of. And then let's take the analogy further and say, well, it's a retail store though. So there's going to be people that come in who can't afford it. They come in and they're curious about the dress or the pants or whatever. And they get in there and they're like,
that's expensive.
I really can't afford this. Yeah. Okay. And then you're going to have people that come in that say, oh, okay, I like this, but I like another brand better. And I'm going to go buy that. That's like the agent thing. They've got another agent. They're going to come in and I'm just curious. I'm not really looking to buy a new dress today.
Can I help you find anything? And what do you say when you walk in the store?
Say no.
No, I'm good.
Because I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
Because I really wanted to order it online, but I couldn't get it here fast enough. So I had to drive into the store, but I don't really want to interact with anyone. That's how we are. Like, that's just how it works. So all of these things are true in an open house, just like they are in a retail store. But the reality is those people came into the store to look at it for some reason.
Right.
And so what your job is there is to get their information and find out as much as you can about what brought them in and then follow up with them. Just like a retail store would try to get you to do something and engage you, like they would have some sort of promotional thing that you can sign up for. They're trying to get you to come back.
It's even different than the retail store. Like, because it's more like a car lot. Because a retail store, you can go in and buy pants, a shirt, shoes, socks. Are you just because you're going to the mall next, you're going to the shop next door, so you came in here. There's all of that. But you go to a car lot, you're going to buy a car. That's it. You're going, right? There's nothing else. Same with the people
who probably a specific car.
Right. Same with the people coming into the open house. It's like they are looking for a house. They're not looking for a condo. They're not looking for a bathing suit. They're looking for a house.
Well, if this is your first time listening to our podcast, Pat is really good at analogies.
Well, thank you.
He's really good at analogies. Actually, a car lot is perfect because you probably came for like a specific car.
Yeah.
And then if that doesn't work, like what's the car salesperson going to do? They're going to be like, well, we've got other options.
Yeah.
Well, we do too as real estate agents. We have an entire inventory. It's called the MLS. I can sell you any of them. I can sell you anything. When I have a license.
Exactly why we should get together and talk. Right.
Well, so tell me more about what you're looking for since this one didn't work.
Yeah.
So the first thing is they all have agents, right? You hear that all the time, which is just not true, but it can feel like it. If you do one, and I'm not saying you can't do one open house where they all do, but then you blanket that to everything and assume that it's not going to work because you had like one or two bad experiences. Then I also hear, just neighbors came in. Okay, well, neighbors can sell and buy houses too. Usually when a neighbor comes in, it's one of two reasons. One, they're curious about selling themselves. Two, they're looking for a friend. You can help with both of those things. And so stop assuming that because they said, I'm just a neighbor,
that they're not interested.
They don't have a real estate need.
Right. Every once in a while, you'll get the person who goes, I've always wanted to see the inside of this house.
Yeah.
Right. Like that kind of a thing. But that's not everybody.
And by the way, you can still get their contact information.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is you're building a database of people that you can communicate with over time and have them think of you for real estate.
Yeah.
So you still met them in person. You still can connect with them. You can still follow up with them. It's just going to be a little bit of different messaging.
Yeah.
That's all. But so then we've covered, they all have agents. They're just neighbors. They're just curious. They're just curious about real estate. They're just curious about real estate. That probably just means they're further down the timeline.
Right. They would normally be still looking online at houses, and maybe this one they just happened to be driving by and saw the sign and hit the brakes and said, I'm going to get my feet wet. they're not interested in that house necessarily. They're not even pre-approved yet or any of those. They're not serious, but this is what we're talking about when it comes to time and it taking time.
That just reminded me of one where I was doing an open house and these people came in and I was chatting with them. And I, of course, like, how'd you hear about the open house? Oh, we just saw the signs. So what is your brain will assume that means that they're not seriously looking because they just saw the sign while they were driving by. And that's what they told you. That's what it sounds like. But you have to go deeper than that because, well, you saw the signs, but I see open house signs and
thousands of people
necessarily stop into the open house, right? So, well, what brought you in? You know, what made you stop at the sign? And it's like, oh, well, because we're looking to buy a house. We just not in this area.
Right.
But we just happened to see the sign. We were curious what you could get in this location. That's still a real estate lead. But if you stop right there and you say, I just saw the signs. We're just curious. Because you are curious about what you could get in this location.
Well, maybe that's the point, right? Is all of these things are all about going deeper and asking the right questions. The reason why a lot of times newer agents don't do well in open houses is because they don't know what questions to ask. They don't know what they're really even doing there or how to do what it is that they're supposed to be doing, and not knowing and having that fear of not knowing and what to say. And I need to know don't I need to know everything about this house if I'm going to do an open house here? Let me study the MLS and everything. And all of the fear of that stuff makes it. And then all of a sudden the open house is over. That guy wrote a fake number down. That guy didn't leave any contact information. I've got nothing for it. It just made me uncomfortable. Now I've got to return all these signs. Screw it. I'm not doing this anymore.
Well, so then I think the final one that I hear most frequently, and I'm sure there's like a million of these, honestly, but they kind of fall into these few categories. The final one would be that they didn't want to sign in. And this is all part of that. Like we said, if you're going to execute properly, you do have to get people to sign in. Yeah. And that is a skill.
Kat's kind of mastered this quite a long time ago and teaches her agents how to do it. If you put a piece of, and I've said this before on the podcast, Kathryn and I are investors. We buy properties, and every once in a while I'm one of those people where I'm driving around and I see a house and there's an open house and I'm like, and I pull over and I'm like, let me go check this thing out. And there has been, I would say more often than not, the agent doesn't even acknowledge that I exist, first of all. And then even if they do, they don't even have a sign-in sheet. And there's so much, the fact that the sign-in sheet itself is bad is not the way to go. And I'm sure we'll get into that, but to not even have a sign in or to even approach me, it's like, well, what are you doing at this open house exactly?
It's really
you are wasting your time.
I was just thinking, I was going to say, Patrick's a real tire kicker. He's in there and he's like, well, this is rotten.
That's not true.
This is all going to have to be ripped out.
I say it all. I would never say any of that stuff out loud. I know what that sounds like, but in my head, I'm racking up the dollar signs and going, nope, this isn't going to work.
But so what you just described though, is you're eliminating it. That's what people do when they come to open houses. Yeah. It's very unlikely that the person coming into your open house is going to buy that house. It's very unlikely.
Right.
It's a low percentage of people that actually buy from an open house. So you're not there to sell that house.
For new agents, say that again.
It is a very low likelihood that the person walking into the open house is actually going to buy it.
So why am I here?
You're there to meet people who have a real estate need and get their contact information.
So that's why I'm doing the open house, is to meet people and get their information.
Yeah. Well, so
I know that, but I think that's very important because I don't think people, if your idea of what you know of a real estate agent has come from TV and movies, nowhere is it ever said that that's the reason you do an open house. You think the open house is to sell that house.
And listen, it's a
byproduct.
Can I tell you something though, from a listing perspective?
Sure.
Okay.
Even though I would say 9 out of 10 people that are doing open houses at other people's listings.
Yes. But I'm just telling you, I just feel like I need to add this in.
Okay.
For sellers, it is important to do open houses because it gets more exposure to their listing.
Of course. And sometimes sometimes the people who are represented send their people to go look at it during the open house.
Yes.
So it's important.
It's important for a seller because it gets more exposure to the listing, but it is a very small likelihood of unrepresented buyers that are going to walk in and actually buy that house.
Yeah.
And
so understand what the reason is.
Yes. And even like people that I coach with, like they know what the reason they're there for is to get leads, but knowledge is different than execution.
Yeah.
And knowing what you're supposed to be doing there and actually doing it are different things.
So if your idea is if that's what you're there for, you're there to meet people and get their information, contact information. Does it make sense to have a printed out piece of paper that's on the countertop that has name, telephone number, email address, and then asking them to sign in? If it's so important to get that information, that's the whole reason that you're doing it.
Well, that's why I stopped doing that way a really long time ago.
Right.
Because then I'm relying on them to actually do something. But it's like, why would you? So again, think about it like this in the retail store example. You go into the retail store and they're like, hey, if you want to sign up for a discount, there's a sign-in sheet over there. And at the moment you walk in, you're thinking, well, I'm just curious. I don't want to end up on their mailing list. Right now, I'm just curious about that dress that I came in here to see. I'm not ready to buy. I don't want to end up on their email list.
You know how many times I get asked every time I go into Fresh Market to sign up to be a preferred member? All it is me giving them my email address and phone number. And then I get like discounts on stuff and I never do it ever. Because I don't want to be on another mailing list.
But then how often do you go into the store and they're like, what's your phone number? And you're like, and you just give it because somebody asked you and you think they need it for some reason.
Right.
Point being, that's why I stopped just putting out a sign-in sheet. And you gave the example that you've walked into open houses before. I have too. And maybe people just assumed I was a real estate agent because I was dressed professionally and I was with other people.
Well, not me.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, like, even when I've come in with people to open houses. I remember going into one where they had like this big spread of food on the counter and they had a sign-in sheet and it was like beautifully staged. Like it was beautiful. And I don't mean the furniture. I mean, the whole spread was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And this really lovely girl was there and she said, hi, welcome in. And we just started wandering around. She never asked us to sign in. It was just on the table next to the food. And there was like 0 people on the page. And I felt really bad because I was like, oh my gosh, you're here.
You're doing this all wrong.
You've put all of this together for people and you're not asking for anything in return.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I stopped asking and I started
demanding.
No, I guess I'm still asking, but I'm doing it where I'm the one collecting the information instead of expecting them to go walk into the other room to a random piece of paper and actually give me all of the information that I want. And that made a huge difference in conversion rate over time too, when I was doing open houses consistently, because now I have more control over the data that I'm collecting.
Right.
And the thing is, like, it's everything that I just went over. We get in this habit of saying, well, they all do this, or no one showed up. And it's like, well, that happened once.
Right.
If you did this over a 6-month period, there would be people that showed up.
Right. Yes. Over a 6-month period, you did 2 open houses a week.
There would be people that didn't have agents. There would be people that signed in.
And you stood at the front door every time somebody walked through the door and had a script to get their information, and you got all their information. One of the things Kathryn didn't say is if you ask somebody to go sign in and you're lucky enough that they actually do, the chances of them writing a fake number, telephone number, or writing an email address that you can't really read is much higher than them lying to your face.
I have found that to be 100% true. And I think it's 2 things. I think that if you ask them and you take their information, whether it's you're writing it down or you're putting it in your phone or whatever you're doing, when you ask them, I think it is a psychology thing that they're less likely to lie to you. But I also think that their brain, it takes like too much brain power to tell you the wrong answer.
Yes. 100%.
And so they just don't. And then you have a higher chance of converting because you have the opportunity to actually follow up. Yeah. You're not going to get them all. So, and then after we take a break, we're talking about the reasons, those feelings that get in the way of the logical math that exists, that is like, if you just do this over time, you will have the results. And so we'll get into the actual math behind it to understand how long it would take to actually see results so that you can put it into practice tomorrow and get what you're looking for, which is an outcome.
Okay. Well, do you want to take a break then?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break.
Okay. If you're enjoying this episode and want more ways to seek your best, not just in your business, but in how you spend your time and energy, there are a few easy places to connect with us beyond the podcast.
Over on YouTube, you can find us at Seeking the Best Pod. We share full episodes of the show, short coaching clips, reviews of real estate products, and tips on building a real estate business that actually works in real life. We post videos on Thursday mornings.
Or find us on Instagram at On Seeking the Best. There we post behind the scene moments, short practical tips, and some of the real unfiltered stuff that doesn't always make it into the show.
And if you're looking for episode supplements like the Candy Bag, where Kat posts more in-depth ideas that we discuss on the episodes, head to onseekingthebest.com. You can learn more about us, buy some Seeking the Best merch, or send us a question that we'll answer on the show.
However you connect with us, thanks for being here and keep seeking your best.
And we're back.
Okay. During the break, I thought, wow, I feel like I'm yelling this episode.
No.
And I think it's just because I'm very passionate about open houses
it's always worked for you really well.
It was a large part of my initial 5 to 10 years.
Maybe that's what I was going to say is not only did it work, you don't do them as much anymore because you don't have to, but that's how you kind of started, because you don't have, those who have listened at all know that Kathryn didn't have the sphere because of her own insecurities.
Well, I had a sphere. I just didn't build it as big as I should have.
Right.
So
But what we say all the time is when you build your sphere and it isn't to the minimum of 200, it doesn't work in the way that you want it to work. And that was the case with you. So you stumbled a little bit at the beginning trying to figure it out, but open houses were always something that you could do because you could go and sit in them and people who had a real estate need walk through the door. And there's no other lead gen that's like that.
I feel like that's why I'm so passionate about it, is it is the only place that you can go on a weekend and physically meet people that have a real estate need.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
It was probably for the first 15 years, the number 2 source of business.
Yeah.
Maybe even longer than 15 years.
Yeah.
It was always a big part, even as I grew a team, because then of course I'm giving them the open house opportunities. I'm not sitting in the same open houses. I'm giving them the opportunities and teaching them how to convert. And then I still did some myself.
You got lucky or not lucky, but you build those people, they become, you sell them houses. And then like we were saying, 2, 3, 5 years later, they turn into sellers.
That's what I was going to say. It is a fast track way to have repeat business.
Yeah,
it really is.
You keep in contact the way that we talk about having your sphere, and you're doing your because they are past client. You're always in contact with them.
So think about it like this. Now, just hear me out, because I do believe listings in the long run, listings for a real estate business are a big deal and you should focus on getting listings.
Yeah.
But if you think about building a repeat business over time, you want buyers that are closing too.
Yeah.
And so where can you go find buyers every weekend?
Open
houses.
Yeah.
So if you're doing open houses and you're not seeing results and you hear yourself saying some of those things that I just rattled off
and maybe
you're doing,
one of the things we didn't really even talk about, but is just kind of occurring to me is maybe also some of the open houses you're choosing to do aren't the right ones.
So that's true. I'm not going to get too much into that because I think that's market specific.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll give a tip or two at the end here.
Okay.
But I think you have to ask yourself these few questions. If you're doing them and you're like, but Kathryn, I've been doing them for 6 months every weekend and I don't have anything to show for it. First of all, do you really have nothing to show for it, or do you have a list of people that you're still communicating with? Because think about it like this. If somebody walks into an open house and they already have an agent, which does happen, they already have an agent because they're a now buyer and their agent was just out of town this weekend, right? Or this doesn't really match their criteria. And so they didn't want to bother their agent with it, but they were like, well, let's just check it out just in case. What if it's perfect? That happens. That's part of the numbers game. So then ask yourself these few things, like what is the follow-up system? Because that's probably the biggest. Well, let me back up. First question is, when people are coming into the open house, how many of them are you getting to sign in? Because that's probably the biggest issue is, remember, you only have a few seconds to have a conversation with someone. You're not going to, very unlikely. I'm not saying it can't happen. I have done it before and I was like surprised by myself. It was what you call a lucky moment that happens every now and then, but it's not how you build a business off of it. So when you're at an open house, these few seconds you have to talk to someone, you're not likely to actually set an appointment. If you do, that's just luck. So what you have to make sure you do is that you get their name, their first name, their last name, their email address, their phone number. Right. And you can implement what we talked about before the break, where you actually ask them, you're going to have a higher success rate. But ask yourself that question, like how many of all the people that came through, how many did I actually get to fill out?
Are you
the sign-in sheet?
This would be something to look out for. Is you're trying to build rapport. You're doing rapport building to somebody that you met at the open house, and you're letting 4 other possible leads escape because these people seem nice. They wanted to talk to you. They have kids that go to the same school that your kids go to. And you're like, I'm rapport building with this person. I'm rapport building, right? I'm going to, but these people are coming in and out over here on the side who you didn't talk to at all. And the person you're rapport building may not ever buy anything, but those other people might.
Can I tell you?
And so you end up, if you know that your goal there isn't to set the appointment and to become buddy and to build rapport, it's just to get the information. You can build rapport later. Because if you let people come in and out and not get their information, you're failing at what the goal is, which is this numbers game.
I can think of instances where this has happened, where I'm in an open house and you're chatting with someone and somebody walks in the door and you don't know how to exit that conversation. Sure. And so you keep that conversation going. Meanwhile, this person walked in and walked out. You didn't get any info. And then 2 seconds later, this person says, hey, well, thanks so much.
We'll let our realtor know.
Right.
And
it happens.
That's why. And put yourself, we've said this before about other things, put yourself in the shoes of the person coming into the open house. Right. So you're talking to the agent about the house and about whatever and everything. And somebody else walks in and that agent goes, excuse me for 1 second. Let me go and make sure that I check these people in. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no, you're not going to make anyone mad or upset or any of those things. It's like any reasonable person would go, okay.
Yeah, totally acceptable.
And if they had real questions,
but it's not.
But they would wait.
But Pat, what you're describing though is completely normal and logical. It all makes sense. But what happens in the room is that you're like, well, I don't want to lose out on this.
Rapport building.
This is happening. Right. This is going really well. I don't want to deflate this. I want to keep talking.
It's because you're not thinking of your goals. You are being selfish and looking at the low hanging fruit. What you perceive
as say selfish. Well, you're not seeing the forest for the trees.
Yeah, you're forgetting why you're there.
Right.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, you're forgetting why you're there.
Well, yes,
if you stay on track and you're like, my goal here is to make sure that every single person that walks through this door signs in, and you see someone walk in and you continue this other conversation, right? Then you are not following the goal of why you're there.
Yes, that's what I agree with that. I don't know that that's selfish to continue a conversation though. Well, I just think it was the wrong word, but
okay.
I think you're right though. You're not being goal oriented. You're worried about
takes practice. I'm not saying it's easy.
Low hanging fruit that's talking to you instead about the big picture, which is I have to get, in order for the math to work, I got to get all this contact information.
Right.
one is not enough. And so if that was the only other person that walked through, you didn't have enough. Even though you had a great conversation, it's still not enough. It's all a numbers game. So the first part is, are you getting all of their contact information? And I'm not saying that it's like 100% every time. If you
never is,
even if you do like what I suggest, which is like actually ask for it and you write it down, you fill it in, not ask them to do it. Before they come all the way in, you'll have a higher success record. But every now and then someone's still going to be like, oh no, no email, no thanks. It's fine. It's all a numbers game. But when we talk about the math in just a minute, understand that it's a conversion off of the contacts you actually have the ability to communicate with.
Right.
So if you've done like 6 open houses and nobody signed in, well, no wonder it's not working.
Yeah.
It's no wonder.
Right. If the math is based off of the contact information you have, then it behooves you to get as many people, get as much of the information as you can from them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the math won't work and your numbers you won't have as many leads that way.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense, right? It's very simple, but.
Well, so I said, if somebody walks in and they set an appointment, that's a lucky one and so rare. But even when that happens, they're likely still 3 to 4 months before closing.
Right.
So think about it like that. So the people that come in that are not ready to set an appointment are probably 6 to 12 months from a closing.
Right. So when people do it through 3 open houses and go, this doesn't work.
Well, you wouldn't have a closing yet.
No.
You wouldn't have a closing yet.
You wouldn't even, you'd be lucky to even have an actual buyer, let alone.
Right. You might not even have a set appointment because you haven't actually met enough people or you haven't gotten enough contact information.
What are those numbers? Let's get into those.
Okay. I was going to say one more thing.
Okay.
Am I going too long?
No.
He's trying to keep me on track.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay. The second part though is these are the 2 important things is like, did you get all the contact information? And 2, what is the plan? If you're not seeing success, what is your follow-up plan? Probably there's something missing there. And we won't have enough time to go in on like an entire follow-up plan. So either we'll do another episode in the future. We probably already have done one, or I'll write something for the Candy Bag blog. But you have to think about that timeline, right? If we're talking 6 months to 12 months before they're ready to do something, you need to first make sure they know who you are. You met them, you have a higher likelihood that when you call, they'll remember. And then you need to have those first 8 to 10 touches over like a couple weeks. And then you need to be consistently following up monthly and then quarterly calls until you convert, unless they tell you a different timeline, in which case you can convert faster and you should follow up faster. You know what I mean? Like if if you get them on the phone and they say, well, we're not ready to meet this week, but
we want to move next month.
Our lease is up in 3 months. So give me a call back in a couple weeks.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Different thing. Yeah.
Don't put them on a monthly follow-up. You're going to need to convert. You're going to need to communicate faster. But oftentimes I think it's one of those 2 things. If you're not seeing results, it is likely you didn't actually get all the contact info, or you don't have a follow-up plan, or the follow-up plan isn't long enough, or the biggest issue is that you actually didn't execute the follow-up plan though, is that you have it, you wrote it out.
Yeah.
You copied one.
That's always what it is.
But you didn't actually do the steps.
It's I don't have enough people, and then I didn't do the follow up. That's always what it is.
Yeah.
When you hear open houses don't work, it's one or both of those things.
So when you think about it, with what we said, we'll get into the math, and I like to try to remind myself to keep it simple.
Yeah.
A good open house conversion rate is like 5%. Okay.
That's easy math to do.
Many people, like if you do this consistently and make this like a lead source that this is your thing.
Right. So you've been doing this steady and killing it, and you're 2 years in of
then
doing
you
open
can
house.
Have like 7 to 10%.
Okay. So
average, let's say 5%.
Yeah.
Brand new agent. Hey,
you're brand new, baby.
You're going to probably be at more like 1 to 3%.
Right.
Which means you're going to have to do a lot more open houses to have the same results.
But you'll get better. See, that's the thing. You're going to start at 1%, but the more you do them, if you're doing 2 of them a week, right? You do one on Saturday morning, pound that thing out, and then do one later on that same day. Get them both done out of the way, right? And you do that every single week, and you plan it. And that means you've done 100 open houses in a year. Baby, that's not going to be 1% anymore. Like your numbers are going to go up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you should be looking to improve. So like if you did your first open house, whether it be you're brand new and it's your first open house ever, or you're like getting back into it, you're going to be rusty.
Yeah.
And so what you're trying to see though is, okay, how many people came through? How many people did I actually get contact information from?
Okay.
Because one of the things I've realized is that
what do you do? Do you have like a sheet or something that you use for this, or that you give to your agents to use to keep track of all this stuff?
Well, we use a Google form to collect the information from the agent while you're or the buyer or seller while you're standing in front of them. And then that goes into a spreadsheet. So because that data is going into a spreadsheet, I can see how many people, I can see how many got signed in, right?
Yeah.
But then I also have a spreadsheet or a form that you fill out after the open house. It's called an open house checkout. And it's just a really quick Google form that says how many people came through, how many were real estate agents. That's it. Oh, and I also track the day and time to see which
what's working,
what's the best time frame.
She tracks everything, guys.
But what happens is over time, you have these results where you can say, okay, in the last year, the average number of people that came through an open house was 4, like 4 groups, right? And which means if there's, just because there's a couple, I don't count that as 2 people, because they're only one buy or sell side, right?
Yeah. So
if 4 groups came through and I got 4 pieces of contact information, I got 100% contact info. Okay. So then from there, I know, I should get 5% over time for the people that I got 100% contact info, right? That would be how to math that. Because if I only got 3 people's contact info, it didn't really matter that the other person came in because I have no way to communicate with them beyond that, 10 seconds that they walked past me and walked out the door.
Right.
I don't know who they are. They don't know who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Unless they're legitimately interested in that listing and they come back and want to make an offer on it, they are nothing.
Right.
It's only the people whose contact information you get.
So we're saying 5% when you're really, really good at it, you could be all the way up to 10%.
Yeah.
So is it 10% of setting an appointment, or is it 10% of closing a deal?
That would be closing.
Okay. So if that's the case, right, it's 5% closing. Let's make it a little bit easier if we can, and say, well, how many people I can figure out my math of how many appointments do I need to set to closings, but how many open houses do I need to do to set an appointment? Because that number is easier for me to understand and deal with. I can work on my conversion rates of setting appointments to closings separately. But I want to know, how many open houses do I need to do? How many people need to walk through the door? And how many times do I need to do that in order to set an appointment?
Okay. So
you see what I mean?
Yeah, except you didn't prepare me for this. So I didn't come with this math, but I think it's pretty simple.
Okay.
So I'm going to do my best and I get in the weeds on this. Okay. But listen, if you wanted to close 5 people from open houses, you're going to divide 5 by 0.05. That's going to say you need to get 100 pieces of contact information.
Okay. So 100 people coming or groups need to sign in
where you get their full contact details.
That's right. So that's the correct information.
Now, let's say on average, 4 groups are coming into your open houses right now. You need to do 25 open houses to eventually close 5. Now, let me just clarify, because eventually close 5, like I said, what you're doing today isn't a sale next month.
Right.
So 5 could be over the next year from that group of 25 open houses you did.
Right.
It could be 5 over the next year. That's why it's so important to do stuff consistently.
Right.
And so, but if you said, like usually what I find, there's conversion from closed to penned, pending to taken to held to set. There's conversion rates that you have. But what I've found over the years to be true is that typically in order to close 5, you probably need to set 10 appointments. Mm-hmm. So in that math though, if your conversion rate was 5% to do 25 open houses, well, then you'd set 10 appointments from 25 open houses. If 4 groups were coming through every time.
Right.
Because that would be 100 people that you got contact information and you were following up with.
Right. So when we hear people say, well, I did an open house, I've done 2 open houses so far, and I called them all once. Open houses don't work. You see what the math is, and it's like, you need to be doing this for a year, every single weekend, and consistently following up with these people. That's what a real estate career is.
But here's the other thing. Like, I was just doing a mid-year planning session.
And you might get lucky. Yeah. Right? It's like, you don't know. Like, we're saying that. And it's like,
luck happens. What does your dad say?
The more you practice, the luckier you get.
Exactly.
So it's like you could have low hanging fruit. Something could fall in your lap. Like these people, like, you don't know, like you might go ahead and start showing houses to one group of people and they go, oh, you know what? Our friends want to buy a house. Now all of a sudden they become Sphere. Yeah. Right? Like, you don't know. But if you're not out there doing it and you're just, well, I guess I'll do an open house this weekend. No one showed up. What else can I do? I guess I'll watch this on YouTube. Like, you're not, you know what I mean?
Well, and so I'll say one more thing. So this is the important part, is that when we give like averages and things like that, if you find that that's not what you're getting after you've been tracking for a period of time, you adjust. Don't just say, well, Kathryn said.
Right.
Because think about it like this. The math that we just did would be that you would be getting 100 people's contact information, and that from that 100 people, you'd set 10 appointments and close 5.
If Kathryn set 10 appointments, she'd close 10.
Well, but that's not true. Like, that includes all the conversion that goes between setting an appointment, them showing up in person, then you get them to sign the paperwork, right. Then they actually buy, and they stick in the contract and close.
When was the last time you set an appointment and they didn't show up? Well, how many years has it been?
Years, but that's because I don't set just any old thing. But, however,
right.
My point is that you should expect that some of those people aren't going to show up.
Yeah.
That because this is just how it goes when you're doing lead generation. But my point in all of this is that that would be 10% of the people you're reaching out to set appointment. Mm-hmm. That would be that conversion rate. That's pretty high.
Yeah.
Now, you've met them in person, so that's why it's higher than like if you were doing expireds or you were circle prospecting, because you don't know those people, they haven't met you, you're going to have a lower conversion. But don't assume that that's going to be reality for you. I was just doing a mid-year review planning session, and I told them, like, listen, you want to make sure you achieve something, just double it. Like, so instead of saying, I need to do 25 open houses to have 5 closings, I need to do 50 open houses.
Right.
Do 50 open houses.
You'll hit your goal.
Get
right.
everybody's contact info, and then tell me that doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you've got to really put in the effort and time and be committed to it. And so you have to get over the emotional side. And I know I probably said this in the last episode, that quote that I like, that it's emotion makes you act, or logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. Mm-hmm. Is like, the logic is that if you do this many open houses, you'll have this success. But the emotion comes in because you do one and only one person signs in. And it's like, oh, but I can't.
Or worse, then you do 2 and no one showed up. And then you do the 3rd one and then it pours down rain. That 4th one is going to be tough, but we're not talking about the 4th one. You got to do 50.
Well,
right.
But that's the part that you have to come to terms with.
Yeah, not getting worn down.
Is that you're not focused on what happens in the open house. The open house itself, mm-hmm. The only thing that matters is that you get the contact information from the people. Nothing else matters. So
it's the numbers.
If nobody comes in, it doesn't matter. Onward. I read a book. Good for me.
Yeah.
I planned the rest of my week. Like it only is a waste of time if you make it a waste of time.
Yeah, well, and it's also only a waste of time if you forget why you're there. If you are there because you think you're going to get a buyer who's going to be looking at houses next week and nobody showed up, it seems like a loss. If you look at it as a numbers game and go, check, I did it. Check, I did it. Right. And I got 2 people came through, but I got their information. Check, I did it. And you just look at be a robot as best you can on the numbers and stuff, and know that that's why you're there. You're not there to get somebody who wants to look at pretty houses next week in a beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah.
That might happen. It could happen. You buy a scratch ticket. You might win $12. You probably won't.
Well,
but but it could happen, but that's not the goal. The goal are those numbers. I'm going to do 50 open houses. I'm going to get everyone's contact information. Everyone I get the contact information, I'm going to put on an 8x8 plan, and I'm going to follow up with consistently over time. And if you do that, you will get set appointments. And then if your conversion rate, if you work on that, you will take them as buyers.
I'll say one more thing that, of course, it immediately slipped in my mind. That's whatever happens whenever I'm like, okay, one more thing, then I forget what I'm going to say. But I just wanted to kind of close it out just as a reminder, like no lead source is a magic pill. Open houses are not either. Yeah. Nothing is. Yeah. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
Yeah. Once again, the whole last episode was all about this takes time. It's a long process that takes time.
Oh, I know what I was going to say.
And so does open houses. And guess what? What we do next week, that one's going to take time too.
So what I was going to say is that we just had 50 open houses, and somebody was listening and was like, that's like every single week for all year long to get 5 closings, right?
Not if you do 2 a week.
That's the thing, is that one of the beauties of the freedom and flexibility part is you get to decide how you schedule your day. Nobody's telling you how to do it. Now,
you could do 4 a week.
You could do as many as you wanted. Yeah. I think somebody told me the other day, some guy did 360 something, and it's like, what? How is that possible? Yeah. Well, he did an open house every day. He went and he found a listing, and he sat in it. And I'm sure like 200 of those, nobody came through, right?
It's a numbers game.
But he was disciplined and said, my schedule is that this time every day I go do this. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that's key, is like, don't be attached to the outcome. Now you need to track your results and adjust, but don't be attached to how many people came through or it rained or all of these things. You just find the open house, go sit in it. And yes, you can absolutely do 2 every weekend to shorten your span. You can also do 2 in a day. I've done that many times before, because
that's what I was saying. Like you do 1 on Saturday morning, you do 1 on Saturday afternoon. You've got all of Sunday to yourself. You've done 2 open houses. You only have 24 more weeks to go. And you've got, think about it. If you did 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, that's 4.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just the numbers. It's like, and if you said for the next 6 months, I'm just going to buckle down and I'm just going to do this. Right. Think about where you would be in 6 months.
It's crazy to think, actually. It's almost getting me inspired to do open houses again.
Until she walks outside and it's 98 degrees.
Right. But you
can change your career in 6 months.
100%.
Change it entirely in 6 months.
Open houses is one of the easiest ways to do it. It is truly, like, it is just like I said, it's not a magic pill, but it is literally just you going showing up somewhere.
Yeah. There's next to no money in the follow up, because you're just
calls and emails.
It's calls and emails. It's like,
it is free. It is just you showing up somewhere and waiting for people. It is the most passive thing you can do. Yeah. The only active part is, yes, you do have to follow up. And I understand that is something that holds people back on things, because then it is still the call. But remember, they gave you their contact information. They came into the open house.
And we say this all the time, if you feel like you have something to offer, which you should, then you should call them.
Yeah.
You are going to help them. They need the help, and you're going to do it. Mm-hmm. It's like, call them, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, don't be afraid to call them, help them.
Yeah.
That's what they want. All right.
Make it simple. Your best move. your best move. Do your best move.
All right, it's time for this week's best move. One simple, smart thing to focus on this week. Not a giant to-do list, not something that takes hours, just one move that actually helps move your business forward. And this week, your best move is before your next open house, write your opening question.
Ah, timely.
Right.
Timely.
What are you going to say when people walk through? Now, I know what it would be, and it should all be the same. It doesn't matter what house you're in.
Well,
doesn't
what
matter.
do you think it is?
Can I get your information?
Whoa. Well, yes, you're gonna ask for their information.
Say, hello, welcome to the open house.
What's your name?
What can I? Yeah. What's your name?
Yeah.
You don't have to get
that is your first question, but I would say opening question.
What brought you in today?
What brought you in today? I was just talking the other day with somebody who has been in business as long as I have. And they asked me, hey, do you remember so-and-so? And I was like, oh, yeah. My first open house, I shadowed her. And she...
CB?
Yeah. And I remember the open house. I remember the listing. And she gave me two pieces of advice in that open house. But one was like, when people come in, you say well, you can do it in many different ways. Are you a buyer or a seller? Right? That's a very direct approach. Are you a buyer or a seller? Or you can say, I find that everyone that comes into our open houses is either considering buying a home or selling a home. Which one are you? Mm-hmm. It forces them to choose and tell you why they're there.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get the person that says, well, I'm just curious. What's got you curious about real estate? Mm. Thanks, CB. Mm-hmm.
Kathryn, you got a small win this week?
Maybe my small win is just that I finished my last book. I always I set my plan of what books I'm going to read, and
what was it?
Great. Now you're going to ask me that. Story Brand.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Story Brand by I think his name is Donald Miller.
Yeah.
And I finished
Interesting.
that. Yeah. I finished that book, and then that's when I decided, not on my list of reading this year, but I just felt inspired to reread the 12-week year. So I'm going to start reading that. But my small win is that I finished Story Brand very quickly. And so that I could, because I kind of got a little bit behind with my reading goals at the beginning of the year. I had a very thick one that I was reading that took way longer than a month.
It wasn't just thick. It had those itty bitty tiny little.
I don't know how many pages that was, but it was like, because I'm recording video here, it was like this thick. And it was about health and longevity. So it took me more than a month. Like I want to read a book a month, and it took me more than a month. So I'm like behind schedule.
No,
so
behind.
I was like, I got to finish Story Brand.
You picked up a book that you've already read 3 times?
Yeah. So I can get through it real fast. No, but also because I want to, make some impact happen over the next 12 weeks. Right. We have a lot of things going on. And so I've got to be extra focused on execution.
Okay.
That's my small win.
And my small win is, this is kind of a small win. If you guys are watching this on video, back down here on this floor here, this is a really old door behind me. And when we bought this house, down in that corner was dry rotted, and it has kind of remained that way for years and years and years. And I had a little Bondo experience from playing with Bondo outside on fixing some other stuff. And I was like, oh, this stuff isn't that hard to use. And so I went and I bought some Bondo, and I filled the dry rot area, cleaned it all out, filled it all up, sanded it down, painted it. It's fixed.
Perfect.
Brand new. Took me a couple days, but the smell is horrible. But outside of that, it went pretty easily. I'm pretty happy.
You're a handyman.
Yeah. People who buy things are, what's he say?
I think he calls them idiots.
Idiots. Ron Swanson. Hey guys, for episode extras like the candy bag, ask us questions, or anything else we mentioned today, you can find it all at onseekingthebest.com. And for Kat and myself, thanks for listening, and we'll figure this all out next week.
Bye.
Fall down, get back up, keep on reaching, don't give up, step by step, nothing less, this is how I seek the best.
This has been a Think Live Be production.